In 2010, Kazakhstan took over the chairmanship of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. In January, Kazakhstan's President Nursultan Nazarbayev addressed the OSCE decision-making body, the Permanent Council in Vienna, via a video message. In it, he outlined the motto of the country's chairmanship as trust, tradition, transparency, and tolerance, and called for the summit of the organization to strengthen its role. We consider the OSCE, with its unique geographical coverage, its experience of interaction, and the instruments it has developed, to be one of the key mechanisms for ensuring international security and cooperation. It is an organization that has played and continues to play an important role in maintaining the security architecture in the area from Vancouver to Vladivostok. At the same time, the positive historical resources of the OSCE are limited. The decisive question for the OSCE in the future will be whether it can convert itself into a structure that recognizes the diversity of the world in the 21st century, or whether it will continue to be an organization segmented into blocks, where the West remains aloof from the space east of Vienna. In this regard, we call upon the OSCE participating states to support Kazakhstan's initiative urging the convening of a summit in 2010. In February 2010, the UN Security Council invited the Foreign Minister of Kazakhstan to speak on behalf of the OSCE to the plenum. As Kazakhstan was the first post-Soviet and Central Asian country to do so, this was a new turn in the post-Cold War era. It was a warm welcome, as everybody knows what an important role Kazakhstan is playing for peace and security, not only in its own region. I would like to thank the United Nations and the Security Council for the close ongoing attention paid to the activities of the OSCE. As you may know, the OSCE, with its 56 participating states, is the largest entity responsible for security in the Euro-Atlantic and Eurasian region. During the past year, thanks to the political will of a number of OSCE participating states, positive trends have surfaced in resolution of certain protracted conflicts. There is a reset in the relations between some countries. A dialogue has been initiated on key issues of the development of the organization. Given the importance of building on these positive trends and of opening a new stage in the development of the organization, we have put forward the initiative to convene an OSCE summit this year. At the summit, we could discuss pressing issues such as the further development of the Corfu process and the building of united Euro-Atlantic and Eurasian architecture of security, the rehabilitation of and assistance to Afghanistan, as well as the issues of tolerance. Astana is the booming capital of Kazakhstan and home of the President's Palace. Here, UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon gladly accepted an invitation of President Nursultan Nazarbayev. The purpose of the visit was to strengthen political contacts and discuss current issues in light of Kazakhstan's chairmanship in the OSCE. But the visit has another very important motive. Ban Ki-moon came to make a strong call for meaningful progress towards nuclear disarmament, a field where Kazakhstan is leading the way. A visit by UN Secretary-General in the wide landscape of eastern Kazakhstan became an essential part of this trip. Ban Ki-moon paid special attention to the former nuclear weapons test site. During the time of the Soviet Union, this was one of the largest nuclear test compounds in the world. Nursultan Nazarbayev was the first to set an example for the world as he voluntarily closed the site in 1991, despite the position of the Soviet government in Moscow. More than 450 nuclear tests were conducted in this area, and more than 1.5 million people's lives were affected by radioactive contamination. Nazarbayev aimed to bring an end to this dark page of history for the sake of all who deserve to live healthy and free lives, and for the sake of the environment. In April 2010, Ban Ki-moon honored the President's Act at the site.
In 1991, soon after independence of Kazakhstan, President Nazarbayev took an extraordinary leadership by closing this Semipalatinsk nuclear test site and banished whole nuclear weapons. It was a visionary step, a true declaration of independence. Today, this site stands as a symbol of disarmament and hope for the future. Treaty on a nuclear weapon-free zone in Central Asia was signed here. Now we have a good reason to believe that the promise of Semipalatinsk, the abolition of nuclear weapons, will become reality. Here in Semipalatinsk, I call on all nuclear weapon states to follow suit of Kazakhstan. For inspiration, they can look to Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan has led by example. They encouraged the United Nations General Assembly to establish August 29th as the International Day against the nuclear tests. And they are working to help people experiencing the adverse effects of nuclear testing.
Representatives of 47 states and international organizations have been invited to the Global Security Summit that was held in Washington, D.C. The summit took place on the initiative of U.S. President Obama. He personally invited President Nazarbayev to the major event. The two presidents had a comprehensive exchange on global security issues and agreed to work together on issues of nuclear disarmament and non-proliferation. Magazines and networks from all over the world covered the summit and the meetings between the heads of states. Amongst the leaders, Nazarbayev is known as an outspoken advocate of nuclear non-proliferation and the peaceful use of nuclear energy. Former U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright was not the only one in a distinguished gathering who wanted to congratulate Kazakhstan's President Nazarbayev for receiving a well-deserved award.
For these achievements of the past, and for all that we know you will do in the future, the East-West Institute proudly presents you with its Peace and Preventive Diplomacy Award.
The president received the award because of his leadership in encouraging ethnic and religious tolerance within Kazakhstan and throughout the world. The multi-ethnic state of Kazakhstan is among the best national examples that tolerant living between different ethnic groups is possible. Top-ranking politicians, diplomats, and public opinion leaders from more than 50 nations gathered in Astana, the capital of Kazakhstan, to participate at the high-level conference of the OSCE.
I should like to start by expressing my heartfelt thanks for the generous hospitality extended to me by our hosts, as well as for the kind invitation by Minister Kanat Saudabayev, Chairman in Office of the OSCE, to address this distinguished audience. Furthermore, allow me to say how pleased I am to be visiting this country for the very first time and having the opportunity to develop closer ties with Kazakhstan, a member of the group of friends of the Alliance of Civilizations that, in my view, can play a pivotal role in this region.
Sharing the positive experience Kazakhstan has accumulated in securing inter-ethnic harmony and promoting intercultural dialogue has been a major priority of the country's chairmanship in OSCE. And it believes it has made a valuable contribution in this area, critical in the modern world. The third Astana Economic Forum was a success. More than 2,000 representatives of the political and business arenas from more than 50 countries took part in the event. It was devoted to the issue of sustainable economic growth in post-financial crisis periods, a situation Kazakhstan is handling well. It's a rapidly developing country with great potential for economic growth. At the forum, the president of Kazakhstan, Nursultan Nazarbayev, has outlined his vision for a post-crisis world, urging the global leaders to consider creating a new global universal currency. 3 days in July, Astana has celebrated a large festival to mark the Day of the Capital. The ceremony started with a military parade for President Nazarbayev. The president has been instrumental in orchestrating Astana's continuous social and economic boom since 1997. In 1994, he proposed to make Astana the capital of the recently independent nation, received the approval of the parliament, and since then has been working hard to turn the city into one of the most vibrant and dynamic modern cities. Kazakhstan's capital has turned into an epicenter of political, social, and cultural life for the nation and the wider Eurasian region. It is a modern, culturally diverse city with an extensively new infrastructure and architecture that combines modern design and Central Asian flair. In turn, Astana offers its residents a comfortable way of life. The city has also managed to unite East and West and has been given the UNESCO status of a city of peace. Together with international guests, Kazakhstan has celebrated its Day of the Capital, launching the new, flashy trade and entertainment center, the now famous Norman Foster-designed Han Shatir. On the 1st of December 2010, the world was meeting in Astana. More than a decade had passed since the last OSCE summit was held in Istanbul, so the time was ripe for a new highest-level meeting. The summit brought together head of states, governments, and other top officials from 56 participating states and 12 partners for cooperation, as well as from more than 60 international and regional organizations. Kazakhstan as chairman and host was responsible for the important agenda. The distinguished gathering discussed ways to counter new global security threats that cannot be overcome by the efforts of individual actors, but require collective and thoughtful action. Kazakh President Nursultan Nazarbayev called the summit a triumph of common sense. This journey was started 3.5 decades ago. Initially, the Helsinki process had been developed on the concept of a common European home stretching from the Atlantic to the Urals. With the establishment of the OSCE, the principles of European security were entrenched in the space from Vancouver to Vladivostok. Now begins the third stage. The summit ended successfully with the adoption of the Astana Commemorative Declaration towards a security community. By agreeing to this important document, the participating states reaffirmed their commitment to OSCE principles and made the summit an important landmark in the development of the organization. In the document, the leaders said, "We are determined to work together to fully realize the vision of a comprehensive, cooperative, and indivisible security community throughout our shared OSCE area. This security community should be aimed at meeting the challenges of the 21st century and based on our full adherence to common OSCE norms, principles, and commitments across all 3 dimensions. It should unite all OSCE participating states across the Euro-Atlantic and Eurasian region, free of dividing lines, conflicts, spheres of influences, and zones with different levels of security." In 2011, Kazakhstan will go on playing a major role in the international community as it will chair the Shanghai Cooperation Organization and will take over the chairmanship of the 57-member Organization of Islamic Conference.